what's up, guys? We are Within the Uniform Podcast. I'm here with Dillon Dupree and our special guest, Nick Parker.
What's up, Nick?
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself right now?
Sure. So I'm a sergeant in the Marine Corps Reserves. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I'm sergeant in the Marine Corps Reserves, and man, it's great to be here with you guys. I'm glad you guys invited me on. Yeah, this should be a good time.
Yeah, pretty pumped for ourselves for it. So, like I said, it's our first episode ever, so looking really excited to, really dive deep into you, man, and your story, and talk about mental health today for everybody.
I'm sorry about that.
You got it? We're all good?
Yeah. You been enjoying the trip up here, though?
Dude, it's been a great time. Got some good fishing in yesterday.
Yeah.
I caught like 7 fish. I didn't catch many, but
said your girl caught more.
It's quality. It's quality over quantity, and that's how we're gonna play this one. Right. So,
shout out to Caleb Parents too for that, coming out, pulling in clutch, taking them out.
Great time, yeah.
He's a good guy for you.
Good guy, good dude. Good time to be around. He's a hoot though, and he gets some.
Yeah. Dude loves some fishing, bro.
You know what? He was getting us out there. It was a good time, so I was having fun. So I was enjoying myself. I was trying to figure out what was going on with that water, but hey, I was just fishing, so I was enjoying it. So.
He was telling me about I didn't know how the water rises by how the mountain trickles down.
Mm-hmm.
Like
it all comes down and it funnels down into that river, and that's what causes.
I'm from Georgia, so I think we're right around sea level, right, or we're below. Mm-hmm. Everything's up here, so
we're not below. We're
right there.
Above.
That runoff, all that water from the mountain comes down.
Because it was raining for a good bit, and I was wondering why the streams were so low.
Yeah.
And we went kayaking the other day. I was trying.
We drove right through it. So
God!
We drove right through it, and that was
going to that. We were trying to, and it was my first time going down that part of the river too, and it was before it started actually raining, so we started at this public access stream like a little bit further up the road, and then we drove to park down towards the Ronsford area.
Right.
And
this man said he's done this before too, and it was his first time, dude.
It was only like 10 minutes away in driving. Mm-hmm. No big deal. I was like, okay, we should float down this, no problem. It should be like 2 hours tops,
Mm-hmm.
And we started off at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. And he
kept stopping because we were seeing a bunch of fish.
Yeah, we were sitting there trying to fish, and as we started going down, we started to notice it's like, okay, it's like 6:30, and I was like, where are we exactly?
I'm sitting there telling him, quit fishing, let's go. This man comes up to us about like 10 minutes after that. He goes, oh yeah, by the way, we're a little over halfway.
We're like halfway.
Ended up being a 5.2 mile trip.
That's what Caleb was like, yeah, we're going to go about this far, and we're going to go down this way, and it's dark.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how far is it? And he's like, oh, we still got to go a little ways. I'm like,
it's just a little
further.
I was like, we only got like a mile left, and
we can go, man. Let's go, guys.
But the water level was so freaking low that there was parts where we had to drive the kayak through. So, like, literally had to get out and walk it. And as soon as it started getting a little too dark, it just, we couldn't see a single thing. And then we
were last night. I tried to cast, and I'm like, is my line even in the water right now? And then sometimes I was like, I'm trying not to break dude's cast, reeling, and I'm like reeling in, and I was like, oh, I need to let some out there. And I'm like sitting there like trying to figure this out, and like,
you've been fishing since you've grown up?
No, that was the first time I've been fishing since I was a kid.
Oh, yeah, kid.
I was no kid. Yeah. When I was a kid, I grew up in North Carolina. So like when I was a kid, we had creeks and little inlets everywhere.
Right.
So like after hurricanes and stuff like that, I go find like a nice little area, cast out, and just start catching some little bluegill.
Yeah.
And man, it was a good time.
What was your biggest catch?
Probably
so far.
When I was a kid, so like I told him this story too. So when I was a kid, my dad's best friend had these cattle prods, and he put them in the ground, hit it, and bring all the worms with that electricity up to the. And there was a big old. This thing was like
so
this
cool.
big, just the biggest one I've ever seen in my life.
What's the old technique where they take the stick in the ground
divine
and they
rub.
they rub the stick and then it sounds like it's supposed to like represent a mole or something, so like
something like that.
Yeah, they come up to try to avoid it. It's pretty cool.
But I caught like a good. I mean, he was probably like this big ass bass, probably about that big. And my dad was like, I've been fishing in hot water my whole life. I've never caught anything that big. Like, caught something, so I said it must be good bait. So
he just kind of got me into it a little bit, and I was in Cleveland, Tennessee, and we went on this dude's private property, which we had no idea, and I showed you that bass, dude.
The one that you caught. Yeah, so he just gets a rod and reel for Christmas.
Barely, I don't
like
fish.
he doesn't fish at all. And then all of a sudden I see a photo of him with this monster largemouth bass, and I'm like, you got.
We were not supposed to be fishing that like that.
that's alright.
That's how it is.
It was a good time yesterday, so I had fun.
Good.
So you said you're a Yankees fan, right?
Yeah. So Grandma grew up in Yonkers, and I grew up listening to Yankee stories, Dodger stories, talking about her. She'd get on her brother Bill's bike and then go down to Dodger Stadium sometime, or go down to Yankee Stadium and go catch some games. And growing up listening to those stories, it was like I grew up listening to it. And then when I got old enough to understand what baseball was, I was like Derek Jeter, all these stars, all these like just greats, Don Mattingly, Joe Torre, all those guys. Just I grew up listening to it, and I've been on the dark side ever since.
So your dad got you into that?
No, it was my grandma.
Grandma.
Yeah. My dad, God bless him, he's not a big sports. Well, he likes football.
Did you play any sports?
I played every sport.
You did.
I played football. I wrestled. I ran track. I played hockey. I played baseball. I
just like us.
I've done every track. Like our unit had a soccer team, and the guys knew I was athletic, and they were like, "Hey, you want to play soccer?"
We were in CLB.
Yeah. They were like, "You want to play soccer?" And I was like, "Sure, I'll play soccer." So I went out and played soccer, and then it was a good time. So
you any good at soccer?
I'm not that bad. I'm actually a pretty good athlete. I've got good feet. So
can't do basketball, soccer, not for me.
I'm thankful that I can skate. I can skate real well, and I can play hockey. So like my feet, I've always had real natural athletic feet, thankfully. So I don't look too bad when I'm out there. So
So speaking of, he was in CLB2 with me. We went to Afghan together, everything. So he was in it from the very. I guess you were in it before me.
I
met him when I hit the fleet. Yeah.
So what made you join?
So at the time, I told myself, I was like, I'm not going to join the military. I'm going to try to live life and do this on my own. And you're young and stupid, and you don't listen to your parents, and you think you know what's going on. So my dad, one day, I'm not going anywhere, I'm just working at restaurants and whatnot, and my dad's just like, hey, I called the recruiter. And I got to the recruiter's office and I said, you know what?
You were forced into it.
I said, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to.
Might as well.
A lot of it was because I was like, you know what? I am not going anywhere. I'm going to better my life. I want to better myself. And I want to get better and upgrade. So I was like, you know what? Where's the paper at? I'll sign it. I don't care. Let's go. Let's do this.
Like, well, you ended up being right because you're doing well, right?
Yeah. and that's the thing. It's like now that I'm older, I've listened. It's like I've listened to my dad, and at the end of the day, my dad, he's been right the whole time. So I'm like, you know what?
You mentioned that on your on the questionnaire that we do here.
Yeah.
You mentioned that he was your mentor, everything for him. So
if I can be even remotely half the man my dad is, I consider it a victory because he's one of the best human beings I've ever been pleasured to just be in my life, and he's my dad. So that's makes it even better. Right. He was prior Marine Corps too. So it was like one of those things where it was like the man's lived it, he's done everything that I could want to do, and he's done more.
What did he do in the Marine Corps?
So he was 2nd Force Recon, so he was just Special Forces like the whole time. Anything you see on TV in terms of the Marine Corps, military, that's what my dad did. Like, that's the way I put it. My dad was a badass.
He's a badass.
Yeah,
he was certified badass.
And like back then when he was in, they didn't have MARSOC, so like that was Marsac. So
It was Marsac.
So he was Marsac. Yeah, exactly. And that was the thing that, like, you know, my dad, it's like he's got stories at the wazoo talking about.
Well, you know, go get your dad. Come back.
Yeah.
I'll be back in 7 hours, so that's fine. I'll be on my way then. So
he's definitely a huge influence.
He's a big time influence on me. He's one of the best human beings you ever meet. Like, and he'll tell you all kinds of stories too. So it's even better for you if you get to talk to that man. So.
So when you were in the Marine Corps, what did you do? And that, I mean, like, I know, but I just want to explain to the world here, you know.
So so when I was prior active, when we were active, I was a diesel mechanic. I was a 3521 diesel mechanic, and I worked on all our trucks. Now that I'm in the reserves, I'm a 3381. I'm a food service. So I'm a cook, and right now I'm the battalion mess chief for my entire battalion. So I'm in charge of feeding 500 plus Marines.
What made you transition into that?
Well,
was that just because you started?
Yeah, it was basically like I was kind of forced, and at the same time, it was like one of those things. Well, I was voluntold.
Welcome to the military.
So, yeah, exactly. So like I was voluntold because they were like, like if you want to stick around here, you got to lat move to this job because I was filling a food service NCO BIC. So at the time, I was like, all right, whatever. Like,
isn't that like so annoying though?
Honestly, it was a blessing in disguise.
Really?
Because I usually take things with the good with the bad with the good.
Right.
And at the end of it all, once I was food service and I was, rolling, and I mean, now look at me, like I'm a food service, I'm the battalion mess chief. Like I run the battalion food.
So tell people, how does that convert over into civilian?
Well, so like I am basically like a trained chef. So like my civilian job, I'm the head chef at my restaurant that I work at, and basically because I'm a trained chef in the Marine Corps, I was able to basically just transition like, hey, I already know how to cook. Like I'm cooking, guys. Like let's cook some food. Like so it wasn't hard to civilians they loved them their chow. So I was able to transition that pretty well. So.
I love to eat.
It was a good time. It's a good time. Like I really do enjoy being food service now because it's like, man, I'm hungry. All right, let me go over here and get some food. It's right there for me, so I don't have to go for it.
So I know that you got out. What made you decide what was your determining factor as to go back in? Because I didn't even realize that you were back in the military.
Yeah, so...
originally I thought you got out.
Originally, the reason I got out originally was because I met Coach Meyer, Urban Meyer. I met Urban Meyer, and I met him. My mom got me into the last practice before the spring game, before my second deployment, your first deployment. So I go and I meet the guy, and my dream has always been to play football at Ohio State. And I'm not the biggest, I'm not the strongest, I've never been the fastest, but I will work my ass off to get anything that I want.
Oh yeah.
So I basically vomited this on him. I was like, I want to play here. And it was like, without...
Did you imagine Urban Meyer's like...
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is that without hesitation, he was like, I'll take you.
Oh, for real?
I will take you on... He told me, I would take you on this team and take good care of you. As long as you are enrolled at this school, I will take you on this team.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so
but
that day...
That's cool. What a prime example of just taking a step and not being afraid to speak up.
And that's the thing is that, like, it was like in the back of my mind, something was like, just say it, dude. Just say it. And I just vomit. It was like word vomit. Just say it.
You just had to do it.
And I said it. And I said it. And I said this to this man. I was like, I just want to play here. And for him to say, I don't know you, but yeah, let's go.
I'm sure he doesn't deal with people with enough balls to just walk up and be like, hey, this is what I want.
So from then on, it was like, I'm going to get out of the Marine Corps. I'm going to get enrolled at Ohio State. I'm going to go play football.
He gave you a dream. He gave you a path.
Exactly. He said, here's your dream. Come get it.
Yeah.
And it was like, to me, I was like, yeah, let's do this. Let's go. And, in hindsight, there's things that I would have done differently, but I'm glad I'm where I'm at right now.
Yeah, you can't look at the past.
But, so, back to your question, eventually I was like, I started missing that camaraderie and the brothers that I had, the brothers and sisters that we build. And so I said, man, I'm really missing this right now. And it was like,
Isn't it wild a little bit?
Things happen. Things happen, and when things happen, you have to either pick up on what's going on and run with it, or just kind of brush it aside. And the prior service recruiter, literally, like, as soon as the thoughts began, the prior service recruiter calls me. Like, that week.
It's just meant to happen.
Exactly. And it was like, he's like, you ever thought about coming in? And I was like, actually, it's funny you would say that, because, yeah. So I was like, I just was like, yeah, actually, I have. And then he's like, well, why don't you? I was like, I don't know if I want to go back active, though. Because I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. So is there anything else I can do? And he's like, well, you can try the reserves. And I was like, all right, yeah. Let me try the reserves. And now 5 years later, I am sergeant. I picked up sergeant. That was one of my goals, was to get promoted to sergeant. And I'm the battalion mess chief, the S4 platoon sergeant. And I'm doing pretty well. And as soon as I can complete my residence course, because I already did sergeant's course online, I'll probably more than likely get staff sergeant. I'll be able to get promoted.
That's awesome.
Staff sergeant, and just keep trying to keep progressing.
It's always that next step.
Exactly.
You
and
want to chase.
That's one of my things. It's just like, I'm never content now. That's one of the things that I'm never content with. Just like, yeah, I'm a sergeant. I'm doing this. What else can I get? What else can I do?
Always trying to achieve something.
Exactly. Like, I want to move forward instead of just staying in reverse.
Which, that's exactly.
A lot of the reason too is because the reserves is good too. Is because, like, I can still go to school, finish my degree, and then I can keep moving in life and doing what I want to do in life.
Do you think that kind of mindset's taught from family, environment, or what? What makes you push that way?
A lot of it came, I want to say it was a lot of trial and error, because it was a lot of, sometimes it was a lot of like, I'm cool with being right here. And then it was like, eventually it was like, what are you doing with yourself, dude? What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not doing anything. Why don't you go do the Marine Corps? And then, then once I'm in the Marine Corps, it was like, well, what are you doing? You trying to get you trying to be corporal? You trying to get promoted? Doing, make more money, do things? It's like, yeah. And then eventually it just was like, it became a habit. And it was like, I don't like where my life is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I try to get better? Be better all the time.
Prime example. Somebody who's that's such good mental strength too. And that's exactly what we would need to start kind of transitioning into a little bit here, is just talking about the mental fortitude here.
Yeah.
And understanding how being in a situation, and if you feel like you're helpless and nowhere, how are you transitioning your life and your ways into achieving something like that, and just taking the steps and the procedures on how to move forward. I think.
How do you break out of your shell? How do you how do you go for that goal? How do you stay consistent in working towards that goal?
Well, it isn't easy. Like, I'm not going to pretend to be like, it's easy, anybody can do it. No, because it's not easy. Like, you want to get in school, you need to get your shit together. Get it together. Push yourself harder. Like, don't be content with just like,
even those days when you don't want to do it, man. It's cliche as it is.
But those are the days that you're supposed to work the
hardest.
That's
how you get better.
There's days where I don't want to do shit.
Right.
But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm like, no, I do want to go to the gym. I do want to go for this run. I do want to go to work. I do want to do this assignment, this schoolwork. Like, I want to get better and quit. Like, at the end of the day, everybody wants to be better.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody should just be like, I'm making $15 an hour, but I could make 20.
Right.
Like, nobody should just be okay with that. And, like, I get it.
Well, that's the problem with
today.
Period.
And I get it. Like, sometimes it isn't
that fucking handout.
Sometimes it's not that easy. And I get it. Like, but at the same time, it's like, there's work you got to put in.
Mm-hmm.
There's still work you got to put in. I know I still got work to do. I got a lot of work to do, and I'm okay with that, because I want to do that work. I want to go that distance, and I want to be better. Like, there isn't there is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There is only getting better.
I think, like, and that goes into it. A lot of the times when I feel like I have a bit of, like, a depression kicking in,
Right.
or something that's just been eating at me, is when I'm starting to become completely stagnant.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not progressively trying to achieve something else in my life. You know, if I'm not actively trying to pursue something, I start to get a little bit of lost and out of control.
Right.
You know, that's when drinking will come into play.
Being complacent is boring too.
And you know, you just
it gets boring.
Well,
it's terrible.
There's a saying in the military in general, the Marine Corps you hear it a lot, but complacency kills.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
when you're on a deployment, the first month that you're there, you get a little complacent.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you can get.
Well, it's like, so.
In the last month you're there,
every road that you try to go down, like especially like right off the bat, and I was a wrecker operator, and I was QRF in Afghan, so you know at the beginning you're only taught that every corner is danger,
yep.
And then the first month kicks in, and nothing's really happening or something. I remember driving down the road and my butthole used to pucker every time I go over a bump.
Yeah.
You're like, oh!
You see some rocks and
Yeah,
you're like,
that's an IED.
What's going to happen? Because, you're taught a certain thing, and so, like, you're out doing...
And then that complacency starts to kick in.
And then but eventually you hit that groove. You just get into a nice groove, and then it's like, better.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last month you're there, you're like, I'm going home. I'm about to get home, and let's go. And then you just forget your training, and then that's when bad things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Just is one of those things, unfortunately, that you can't avoid it because you're human. You want to go home. You want to go see your family and friends, but you still have to remember why I'm here and what I'm. It's like, hey, look, we're about to go home, but we still got 2 weeks left.
Still got a job to do.
Yep, still got to get that job done. So just chill a little bit. How about that?
Yeah,
that's wild.
Yeah. And it's a real thing too, out there. And it'll get you. Complacency will kill you in a second.
Mm-hmm.
Pushing back further in the questionnaire and everything, what were some more? What was one of your worst mental struggles that you had to go through personally with your life?
So
that you overcame and became a better man out of the end because of it.
So the worst thing I've ever been through is in 2018 on February. It was Valentine's Day in February. I was dating a girl. We were engaged, and we were like, all roads leading towards marriage. Well, that Monday, her dad had a real bad stroke, and it really messed him up. Mm-hmm. And he was saying crazy off the wall things, and it's like he never thought anything. No, I didn't think anything of it. And I was like, well, just get out of there, or either come here or something. I was just like trying to be supportive at least and be there for her. And it was like Tuesday night. It's like Tuesday I said goodnight to her, and it was like Wednesday I texted her in the morning when I got to work. Nothing, like no response or nothing. I was like, all right, she's probably sleeping. About 11 rolls around, nothing. After a while, I started getting a little worried. Start getting kind of what's going on here.
Yeah.
Nothing. I didn't get anything all day Wednesday. Thursday morning rolls around. I'm like, look, if I don't hear anything from this girl, I didn't know what was going on.
Got to be.
Thursday rolls around. I go, look, if I don't hear anything from her, I'm going up there and I'm going to see what the heck's going on. I get a message from her friend on Facebook. Hey, call me. And I'm thinking, all right, maybe she's breaking up with me. She doesn't have the guts to tell me, so she's having her friend do it. Come to find out, her dad woke up Wednesday morning and killed her mom. And then she came upstairs to find out what the heck. And he followed her into the basement and killed her. And then shot himself, killed himself.
Oh my God, dude.
And I went a whole day without knowing any of this. Nothing. And I've felt lost before. Like I've lost family members, I've lost friends, I've lost people. I know loss. But I can tell you one thing, that never in my life have I ever felt a loss like that. To just feel so empty and not just know, like, 'cause the way that like I described it was that like I had all this love inside me for this girl. I had nowhere to put it because I couldn't give it to her anymore because she's not there. To have your best friend just ripped from you, just everything, your whole world just breaks and crumbles. Never knowing where you're going with things.
Man. Well,
and that to me to this day still is the worst pain, the worst mental struggle. Like, I mean, you got a name for it, and I can probably tell you that's what I went through was that moment.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. But going from that, you know,
I'm at a loss for words,
being,
bro.
the only reason why I'm trying to talk out of it is because that's rough, man.
And it was one of the worst moments I've ever gone through as a man and as a person.
But the best reason, and it's a prime example as to why I have you on the show today, is who you are now and how you've evolved from that personally. You know, and this is the exact root of what we're trying to get to here is how do you overcome something like that personally, you know? What made you move? Yeah, I mean, I know it's hard to, it's not, you don't always just move on from something like that. It's something you live with, but how are you able to expand your life and to continue to grow as a person?
Well,
going through that.
Eventually when you experience a loss like that, people are like, oh, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. You hear it so many times and you're just like, I appreciate it. I appreciate you being there. But like, unless you know that loss, you don't know what I'm going through. Like, you don't know how to handle this. So when people are like, yeah, I'm here to support you, and you appreciate it, of course, you truly do.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, at the end of the day...
Can it be drowning?
It's a little more like, like people are like, eventually you get to a point with people where you're like, like, I miss her so much, and then they'll just say, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes, you support me, but it's like, I want to hear something. Go fuck yourself, just something. And that's the thing, is that, like, they don't know what to say.
You think it just gets really...
They don't know how to handle it. Yeah.
Everybody just gets too annoying with being, like, overly supportive.
Exactly.
It's just like,
and like
shut the fuck up
right.
for a minute.
And at the end
but for real, though.
At the end of the day...
I can't relate. I'm just at a loss for words.
Yeah, and the only reason why I can relate is because, we've being in the military, we've had so much loss, and you kind of start to learn to accept, like, that's what life is.
Yeah. I just got upset if I threw a ball or a strike, so I had no idea.
And at the end of the day, though, you're left with your own thoughts, and that's where it becomes hard, because it's like, yes, you want to reach out, yes, you want to talk to somebody, but at the same time, it's like it's midnight. Like, you don't need to worry about just waking somebody up, and it's like, people.
That always ends up being the problem too, is the late night thinking.
Exactly.
And it's when you're finally laying down in bed when you really start to struggle with your problems, and that's a big, I think, important part of.
That's the biggest problem. Is that
being okay with being alone for a minute in your head, whether it even means like being next to someone or not. It's, you got to learn to lay down and just at the end of the day be able to close your eyes and be okay with it. Everything.
And that was the thing, is that, like, being alone, because you're alone, like, you don't have her there anymore. You're alone, and you're like, well, what do I do now? So it was like one of those things where it's like, I can either let this eat me up, or I can deal with it and go through it and better myself, like I said earlier. So you have to eventually want to better yourself.
When did you start to realize that point in your head after that happened?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Weirdly enough, it was like when it all happened and everything happened like that, it was like I told myself, I just wanted to find the biggest bottle of alcohol and crawl into it and never come out again. But it was like in the back of my head, it was like I heard something. It's like I heard her voice say, be true to yourself. So I was like, I'm not a drinker. I'm not a big drinker at all. Like, I've never really have been. I enjoy a glass of wine every now and then. I enjoy but I don't drink. I don't care for it. I like to go to the gym. That's the thing, is I love playing sports. I love working out, and I love training. So it's like I focused all my energy on that. Everything, every ounce, every atom in my body, that's what I focused on, was training my body, training my mind, working myself out. And, it was like a month goes by, 2 months goes by, 3 months goes by. More, it's like time goes by, and you start feeling different. Like when it first happened, a woman that I met when I was staying up in Sebring, I stayed up in Sebring where she's from for her funeral and everything. And the woman I met at the motel that I stayed at was telling me that, right now, you don't want to hear it, but one day you're going to be okay. One day things will get better. It says one day you're going to wake up and you're going to be fine. And she was telling me about her son who just died, who just up and just passed away out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Had a random heart attack and died. And it's like when you first hear these things, you don't want to hear these things. Like, you don't want to hear it. But then eventually it does happen. Eventually you do, if you attack it and actually go at it, and it's like you think these things through, because I used to judge my days off of how far in the day I could go without crying. And
that's hard,
so it was one of those things where it was like I'm driving to work, and I hear a song, and this is like 8 in the morning, not like just before 8 in the morning, and I'm bawling my eyes out.
Yeah.
And that right there, it's so hard because all you want to do is just like give up. But that's the thing, is that like I don't give up. Even when the odds are against me.
You can't be that person.
I just don't give up. Yeah. Like I don't. Sports, it doesn't matter what it is. Sports.
Do you think you found like a different outlet, like with training again?
Training, yeah. Being in the gym and being able to focus my mind on just focusing on my body and training and just getting strength, because I started feeling a strength I had never experienced before. Yeah. Like I was just strong physically because I was so numb. So my body was like just channeling all that, and it helped. It did help a lot. But eventually I knew it was like I told myself, hey, I do need to address this. And people would be like, go talk to somebody, go to counseling. And I don't want to say I'm Billy Badass or anything, but at the same time, I'm also like, well, what the fuck is a counselor going to tell me? She's still dead.
Yeah.
And I told myself, you need to deal with this, man. You need to go through it, cry, grieve, experience this loss. And I did. And
you finally opened up and just let it out.
There's a lot of times where I'm alone and by myself, and I'm okay with being by myself a lot. And that's why I was able, to me, that was how I was able to do it. I was able to experience it and go through it and grieve and just get it out of my system. And I still miss that girl so much today.
Well,
but I've grown with it.
Isn't it like, it's a good thing though? You can't just, you can't
she's
have
never
resentment or like, not resentment, but you can't completely ignore the fact that
you're not going to, because it's one of those things where it's like,
it's not fair to for her or yourself.
Grief is one of those things where like you learn to live with it, and I've learned to live with it and grow with it. And my thing personally, it's like every day I try to, how can I honor this girl in everything I do?
Yeah.
And that's what I try to strive for every day I wake up.
Right on.
How can I make things better? Like, how can I honor Katie? How can I honor her memory and honor her in a positive way? And I try to carry that with me everything I do now. And now it's like, now I start making those moves. I start doing this and I start doing that. And it's like, is she going to be proud of me at the end of the day? Is she going to, be happy with what I've done? And that's where, like, that's the way that I look at it, instead of, I don't want to say being sad or whatnot, but like I try to be positive about it.
That's awesome though.
So it took me a long time to get to where I'm at now, because it was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But
it's not even a long time too.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, 3 years was just not that long.
It must have just flown by. I know it does.
It took me a minute to get to where I'm at now, and
especially when you said it was your fiance too. So you're setting up life.
I mean, I was actually, at that time, I was talking about going active duty.
Yeah.
Going back active duty. Like, starting a whole, and I'm like, now, as soon as she died, it was like all that went away. It was like, no, I'm good now.
Well, in a positive way, I mean, you're in a relationship now.
Yeah.
And, not to deter from Katie, but you're doing good. And I mean, just like anybody, I think in the end somebody would want you to move on. How does that affect your relationship now?
She understands, and she's been great for it, and I'm thankful for it, because it wasn't like I hid it from her. It wasn't like I tried to hide anything.
You can't, because that'll come back, that'll bite you in the ass so hard, you know?
And I told her, and I've been up front since day one. And I told her straight up, hey, this is what's up. And she was like, okay.
I mean, I think that's a very important factor for
That's awesome on her part.
No.
Yeah.
She's very mature. She's very mature about it.
Oh,
yeah. I tell her all the time, I'm pretty sure Katie sent her to me, because it was like a year later I met her. And then, we didn't date right away, but we were hanging out and talking and whatnot. But yeah, she's definitely a good human being, and I'm glad that she's around. So I'm beyond pleased with what I found.
And that's good for someone who is watching you that does have a lost person. Right. Moving forward in your life doesn't mean that you're forgetting about the person or anything. It's living up to someone else's name too at the same time. You're trying to show that you can still be the person that you are, even regardless of the loss.
For sure.
I think that's a very important thing,
Dude, that's a wild experience.
It's
crazy.
It's crazy because I
can't
don't
wrap my head around it.
I don't like to just be like vomit on. Like I have to preface it, because I know it's a lot. Like I'm not. It's not aloof with me. Like I know, hey, look, dude, this is a lot I'm about to throw at you here.
Right.
Yeah. So I know. So I'm not like, I try to it isn't something I just discuss openly very often, because I know how it sounds and I know how it is.
Right.
And it's one of those things where you're like when people hear it, they're like, Jesus Christ, what the hell? And it's like,
Well, I haven't experienced anything along the lines of death yet either, though. I've had one buddy I did lose to some drug usage, and that sucked. But I can't imagine losing somebody that you wake up with every single day.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, unfortunately, I've never had to experience something like that myself. Even with the loss that we've both, faced over the years. Right. So that's. I mean, thank you very much for sharing that too.
Of course,
that's great. Yeah. And it definitely, I hope that helps out anybody that's watching today. That's the important thing. That's what we're trying to do and push here. Right.
Well, what's your next step forward, man? What's your goal?
So the biggest goal is I want to finish my degree. I'm in school for sports science.
Where at?
At PG, Bowling Green State University.
Oh shit. Okay. Shout out to Brad Croy if you're watching.
I'm big on sports, and it took me a minute to kind of narrow it down. Like, what do you want to do with your life, dude? Mm-hmm. And it was like, I watch football games with my dad, and I'm always like, they should do this, this, and that. And he's like, you should coach, because then as soon as we get done talking, the commentators come on and they go, they should do this, this, and that.
Yeah.
And it's like I see things already that I know what they should do. And he's like, you should coach. So it took me a minute to kind of figure it out. And then I was like, well, what can I do that's going to get my foot in the door? Right. And I love training athletes. Like, I love to just, help athletes.
Dude, it's fucking awesome. It's such a good feeling.
It is.
When you see
I guess training an athlete might be different, but I've always had the rough problem of, because I tried doing training for a while, and it's when they don't it's not athletes though. It's different.
No. Those are the best kids to fucking.
That's the thing.
It's training normal people who don't care.
Exactly.
Oh my god, drove me nuts.
Athletes are going to show up. You're going to kill them today, and they're going to show up.
And they're going to show up tomorrow. You gotta love that shit. Exactly. If you're an athlete, you love to be pushed.
And that's why I told myself, it's like, I love doing that. So why don't I go that route? And that's where it narrowed it down to, is I don't want to be a personal trainer, but I want to do something where I can work for, one of my favorite sports teams. Yeah. And it's I was like, well, what can I do? And sports science popped in my mind, and I was like, there we go. Right. That's exactly what I want to do. And it's you could Google sports science. What can a sports scientist do? And literally, it's you can read and a little Google exactly tells you everything I want to do. And I'm like, sure. Thanks, Google. I appreciate it. Let's do it. Let's go.
Google. No, that's awesome, man. I got the experience to coach youth baseball coming this past 2 summers, and I had to move away from a great location for youth baseball, and it sucks, dude, because I can say the same thing because Pops always told me to. I just never executed in college for some reason. I had a high ERA and I kind of struggled.
You executed a lot better than I did.
But
I did one semester. Not even. I didn't even finish the semester.
That academics
was
the problem.
Fuck out of here.
No, but I could. I know a lot about the game, man. I know a lot about the game. I just had a problem controlling my breath and making sure that I was calm in those situations. But I could sit there from the outside looking in and just tell you every single thing that's about to happen, every single play. And then Dad would always say the exact same stuff, why don't you go the coaching route? It might be up your alley. And so I got the experience these past 2 years to work with some youth baseball with the Georgia Bombers over there, and dude, it was great. Mm-hmm. It was great. I was nervous because I know how it is from being young and how my coaches put a lot of stuff on me. Yeah. But being on the other side and being the coach, I also learned a lot when I was still playing and coaching.
And that's the thing is you can relate to them.
Yeah.
And when they feel that way, you can say, look, this is how I felt at this time. This is how you can do it differently to adjust fire.
Right.
And that way, your athletes can look at it differently. Oh yeah, okay, so my coach does know what he's talking about. And then that's when it's you build that trust, and then you can kind of guide them, and it's training Marines too. It's I'm a sergeant, so it's I have junior Marines that I train. Mm-hmm. And, just recently, this is a proud Papa Bear moment for me, but just recently, I had my appendix removed. And we had just gotten to AT.
Yeah, how long ago was that too, by the way?
That was
just had...
What, 2...
Yeah.
It's almost 3 weeks on Thursday.
Just had surgery.
So 3 weeks ago, I had my appendix taken out. And we were just 4 days in at AT.
Yeah.
And this is a 2-week thing. So it's there is no other NCO or leadership in food service. So it's if I was gone... It's all Lance Corporals and below. So I'm freaking out. And then the next thing I know, I'm getting my appendix taken out. Hey, I'm going home. Out. I'm out. Well, my Marines who were with me last year, I put every ounce of energy I had into last year training them and making sure they were prepared for just doing field mess and doing food service. And it was this year, I guess when I left, and I wasn't there, and I had no control over anything, they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
they crushed it.
It's good.
And
that's good.
That's a proud Papa Bear moment.
Yeah.
It's I texted my one senior Lance.
You're doing,
yeah.
Almost, yeah.
I told one of my senior Lances, I said, look, I have all the faith in the world in you.
Yeah.
I know you can do this. Go crush this. And he fucking took it and ran with it. And two of them stepped up and they crushed it.
Dude, there's another feeling.
Yeah.
When you perform and do good on your own and you're the player or whatnot, and you're working your job and you accomplish what you need to accomplish, there's something that is awesome seeing your knowledge passed on to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And the full trust.
Utilized.
Yeah. It's incredible, man.
Ben Wilson was you still want to coach over here?
Do you still want to
coach?
I'll pay in. Hell yeah. I love that.
By the way, someone listening in today, if you have any questions for any of us, feel free to ask. I'm pretty sure Nick would love to be open and answer some questions for everybody. It's an open forum for anybody to come and speak today, Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. I wish I can speak for coaching. I just never done anything like that. I tried coaching a little bit when I was younger, but it's just been so long. I never really tried anything.
Yeah, it happens. So.
Yeah,
that's the beauty of the diversity between you two.
Yeah. See, he's the kind of guy that go out and sell anything. I'm the kind of guy that I can't. I gotta do it behind the lines. I gotta be behind the computer to figure something out.
I get it.
That also goes to moving forward too. I've just started real estate. Actually, I start my online class tomorrow. Actually,
right. Yeah, there you
so we won't be hanging out and I gotta do some studying. I'm trying to knock that out here soon, so we can keep. I spoke to you about that and progression and finding someone that's even right for you. I was with Michaela. And I had to completely do a 180 and turn my life around in order to be with someone like that.
Yeah, because they push you.
Yeah.
They see the potential in you, and they see it, and it's like you might not see it right now, but they see it.
Yeah. It's nice to have that.
It is really nice to have.
Yeah.
Can't fuck around.
Nope.
Not at all.
Well, damn. We're still kicking it.
Yeah. So in today's world, this goes back to our mental health thing right now.
For sure.
I know I'm struggling with this right now, and I just started doing some therapy.
Right.
And that's been really
Don't be
hard.
afraid to go see somebody.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I guess now that I'm opening up into it, I'm finally there.
Well,
with today's shit, and coming from the military background, and going to Afghan, being in the time of war, seeing how everything's playing out right now,
right.
It's driving me nuts, dude.
Insane.
Yeah, I'm going insane on the inside. I'm like late night seeking for government contracting jobs to open
I've been there
so
twice,
fuck
so
over there.
I feel it. Yeah, and that's
how's it affecting you? Reading all the news and all the current events.
It's super annoying because it's like sometimes you feel like, well, what the fuck was I even there for? And it's like,
And that's what I'm struggling with.
and I felt, and it's like I lost, him and I were together when we lost 2 Marines. We lost 2 Marines in combat, and that's a feeling too, where it's like, you feel that and you feel that loss, and you're like, now too, you fast forward to now, and you're like,
really QRF that picked that up too.
yeah, and you're sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, what was the point of that? Like, what was it even there for? And like, at the end of the day, though, you have to look at it this way. It's like, you know what? When we were there, we had a mission. We did our mission.
Yeah.
We accomplished what we were there to do. We did it. We executed it just like we were, ordered to, and now we're home. The things that are happening now, it's kind of out of our control, because we're not, we don't have direct relations with that.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's such a thing. Because I agree with that too.
Yeah.
And I try to feel that way. But then it also goes back to, sitting and laying in bed at night, and then I just start thinking about everything.
And that's where the whole reaching out. Don't be afraid to like tell someone, I'm struggling with this. Because it's like, we're brothers for life.
And your whole thing, and this goes back to, 12 o'clock at night, I don't want to call anybody.
Yeah.
You're in your problems, and you're like, I'm not going to bother anybody. But in all reality, when you said that, you could call me in a heartbeat,
exactly.
No matter what time
and,
it is.
And
we'll work through that shit together.
Exactly. And like, there was times where I did reach out. I did reach out to people, and like I talked to people, and like, and I, even my buddy applauded me. He's like, that you did exactly what you're supposed to. You're supposed to reach out, and that's, even now, that's what you do. You deal with what you're dealing with, because right now there's sometimes where if you're dealing with mental health struggles, you might be dealing with something that's so hardcore to you, and you're thinking, I have these demons that I'm battling right now. There's no one there to pick up a sword and fight with me.
Yep.
But then there's always somebody who's, like for me, it's like, if you call me and tell me I'm struggling with this, man, I really am, I will grab a sword, shield, armor. I don't care what I'm grabbing. I'm grabbing it, and we are battling till the end of time. Because that's how I am. Like, I'm never going to leave you behind, and I'm never going to leave a brother struggling, because, like, I know how mentally strong I am. I'm self-aware of that. Like, I know that what I've been through could break most people.
Yeah.
But I know that I made it through it, and I will always be there to help fight for whoever. Perfect example is a friend of mine, his fiance just died. She just had some personal things, and she died. He's struggling with that. I reached out to him because I knew exactly what the hell he's going through. Not many people can say, I know what you're going through. No, because I know what he's going through. And I told him, like, I am always here for you, dude. Like, I don't care what time of day it is. And it's like, it doesn't matter who you are to me. Like, I'm there for you. Like, that's just who I am as a person, too. It's because, like, I know my mental health is I'm very in tune with myself, my mind, my body, and my spirit.
Yeah.
And like I'm religious. Like I wear my cross. I have a combat cross that I wear, and I wear it because I believe in a higher power. I believe in God, and I believe in someone who's watching out for us. But I also know that your mind, your body, and your spirit are the three things that should always be aligned in life. Your mind should always be aligned with your body, because then your body and spirit will be aligned together with your mind. You're always going to have those three. That trinity right there is what should always be aligned. Then when one of them's off, you're always going to be off until you can get it back to that unison.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people struggle, is when their mind is off and they don't know how to get that center. They don't know how to find that center.
What do you do to focus?
Some powerful shit right
there.
Hell yeah.
So,
sheesh.
What do you do to get yourself in that?
So my whole life,
there,
most of my life, I've studied martial arts, and I know it sounds silly, but martial arts is truly something that will help your mind. And
it's not at all. Because anybody who thinks that, because it really does, man.
In all lines. And this morning I woke up and I went for I can't run or anything yet because of my stomach, my surgery. So I went for a walk, and I kind of listened to my podcast, and I just kind of got my mind right. And then I sat out front here and I meditated a little bit.
Who do you like to listen to?
So, shout out to Dan Cummins. Going to see him September 25th. He's one of my favorite comedians. I'm real excited to see him again. But I listen to the Time Suck podcast. And then he's got two other podcasts he does, and I listen to those a lot. And then I listen to the Locked On Network. They got Locked On. I'm a big North Carolina sports fan. So like Panthers, Canes, and Hornets. Big fan of those. And then I listen to a couple other ones just here or there. But plus your guys' I'll be listening to your guys.
Yeah, definitely got
once you guys are on the you'll be on the queue list. So, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. But this morning I kind of took like 5 minutes to just kind of close my eyes and breathe, and just kind of like focus on my breathing.
I think that's so important that nobody just does anymore. And I don't. It's so hard to wake up and just take some time for yourself in the day.
Mental health.
I can't. I don't. And I want to.
I
want to preach it, but I don't even practice it, even though I know that's so important.
Mental health.
And it's so hard to just think about it.
And you. That's the thing, is that we're at an age now where it's like we realize now that maybe mental health is a little more important than we thought.
We're in the information age.
Yeah, we got away from that, and it was the whole tough guy thing. You don't do anything for your mental health because then you're mentally weak if you have to take care of your brain.
Right.
And now we're starting to open up into that.
I don't want to call it awesome masculinity.
But there's a fine line because of loss of masculinity. I think it's more masculine to take care of yourself.
You can still be tough and be able to take care of your mind.
Yeah.
But that also
being mentally tough is taking care of your mind.
Like Bruce Lee, how he preached. All he did was teach martial arts. Yeah. But he what did we say? Mental strength and not fighting, and the fact that he goes, and being a whole part of being a warrior too. Is, would you rather be ready for war in a garden than be at war and be a gardener? That would, you know what I mean?
And martial arts is about self-defense. It's not about being able to fight people. It's it's about self-defense and being ready for what's to come. In the military, it's like we train like we fight. We train.
What's the one?
And people are like, why do you guys train so much? And it's like, because we want to be ready for any kind of altercation.
Well, I think the problem with a lot of things going on now is that people don't think that those things are going to happen. Like they don't think that self-defense is going to be
right and
used.
I
know that aspect.
Mom's on my mother and Dillon Dupree. She was in TXC, the mental toughness, extra effort. That's what that was our slogan for wrestling in last year.
Right.
Was mental toughness, extra effort. We didn't even use our logo for the school. He hijacked it and said MTXC on it.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's like mental toughness is like, you should be able to look at yourself in the mirror and go, I'm kind of broken.
Yeah.
What can I do to fix that?
That recognition.
And that's where I took the steps now. I'm trying to move forward in my life.
Exactly.
And I'm going to therapy. I've done my second session.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I can't say like I feel great now because it
takes time.
Work like that.
That's another thing too.
And it's putting in the practice, in the hard work, just like you were talking about, with anything that you do.
It's not going to happen after 10 visits,
No.
after 2, after 3. It's going to
happen after 20.
No.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, you're still there. What are you doing to help yourself? And it's like, it might not happen for another year, but you know what? You said something. You said to yourself, I have this issue, and I need to deal with it. And that's where a lot of our brothers and sisters don't. That's what happens, is that at the end of the day they go, man, I'm having these thoughts, but no one's gonna want to listen, and that's complete total bullshit, because I know for a fact I want to listen. If it means that you're not going to be one of the 22 a day, then fucking chew my ear off. I don't care.
And that's the whole
I don't care.
Of this podcast is just, from the military point of view, is
right,
bringing down that 22.
Yep.
Down to the teams, down to the singles, down into
a single damn,
and taking those steps that get it down there, and
exactly.
I'm tired of seeing, and COB too.
It breaks my heart.
I mean, has been bad alone with the suicides. I can't fathom, like, I just find it wild.
It breaks my heart.
And it's what are any of us doing to help right now? And
I know I can help.
I felt like I needed to start something.
What I can do. Yeah.
And that's why we're here.
Right, and it's like it's an honor to be here, because it's like I know that hopefully someone's struggling right now and they can watch this and say, all right, well, let me reach out to him, or you, and that's why I love this so much.
And you'd be so surprised who is struggling.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
That's the thing is just.
I've struggled. I won't even pretend to act like I didn't struggle at one point. I know I fucking struggled. Like, it sucked. And like I said, like, I didn't know what to say or how to get a hold of people. And it's like I reached out, but it's like I said, still at the end of the day, people didn't know what to say. But it's like, you know what? Someone was still listening. And that's all that mattered. And that was the little difference in, should I still be here or should I do this?
It's just like anybody. If you don't need it, you're not going to click on it. But, if you feel, even the ones that don't even think that they need it don't speak out, that's why I'm here too. We're here because you can listen to this podcast and just be like, you know what, he's right, or he's right, or might pull some information from you, myself, or him, and be like, you know what, I should take that, that path, or even if it just does something.
Right.
If it flicks on a switch, I'm happy.
Even the littlest good that comes from this is a win, because you save somebody right there, and that's. That's the thing that you want to try to focus on, is like, like I said, like, I'm always willing to go to battle with you. I'm always willing to fight. I don't care who you are. We could have no common anything in general, but all I know is you're struggling with your mental health. Dude, let's go. Like, I will fight for you. Rest. I want you to rest today, and I will fight for you, because I care enough that at the end of the day, it's like, look, you're struggling. I'm here to fight. I'm here to ready. Let's roll. Like, I'm always down to roll. Like, that's just who I am.
Nose, drop of a pin, gone.
Yep. Yeah. That's who I am, and that's how I am about things. And like, that's why I drove 7 hours to be down here.
Because, dude, I'm so thankful that I finally got to see you again.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's such a good time to be here with you guys, because I'm hoping, that's my hope and prayers, that one day that this saves someone's life. Like, that's the beauty of
that's the only goal for this. Is that's exactly what. That's what's driven me to finally say something, speak up, and be able to set something up finally with my brother here too. And there's no way I'd be able to do any of the technological stuff that he does.
And the beauty that you guys are doing it together. It's like, I have a brother, and my brother, I love him to death, and he is my best friend. And I know at the end of the day, it's like, if I got some shit on my mind, I can call him and talk to him about it, and he will talk to me about it.
Well, I had a fiasco 3 weeks ago, and he was the first person I called.
Exactly.
And he goes, "Hey, just get up here."
The funny thing is we don't even communicate like that either. And I'm not saying it's sad or it's not. It's just life happens, and we're years apart. We're 6 years apart.
Yeah, we missed a gap.
Our lives are a little bit separated. But at the end of the exactly.
He still made sure that we had interactions and that we had.
I try.
I have a lot of memories.
My brother and I, we're 2 years apart, but at the end of the day, you're brothers.
Yeah.
You're still family and you're still blood. And it's like I know the whole old saying you don't get to choose who your family is, but it's like no bullshit. You still grew up together, right? You still were brothers. You're still brothers. Like
I think you definitely get to choose who your family is.
You do for sure.
Because there's people that I find as my brothers that aren't even family.
Me and my brother,
it's not blood, but sometimes they run a little thicker than blood.
Right. Yeah, for sure. My brother and I, it was him and I against the world.
Yeah.
Him and I are complete opposites. You can ask her or anybody who knows us. We are complete opposites. But like at the end of the day, it's like someone's messing with my little brother.
Oh, dude,
you might want to stop because you're gonna catch something.
My mind.
Well, so anytime I'm around him, like we went hog hunting a week or two ago, and I'm not used to
by the way, shout out to a hero and Lee Stuckey doing amazing things down in Alabama. That's the hat right there. You want to flip main screen right there? A hero right there. Yeah, either one. But we went down there and went hog hunting, and he actually helped us get our wildfire fighter certifications.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. You're doing amazing things down there.
You told me about that. That's pretty cool.
But I brought him down,
So the cool thing is when I'm with him, there's that different feeling of no matter what the situation, I feel trustworthy with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's that person for me that when if I know something goes down,
he's a confidant.
Yeah, he gives me enough confidence too that I gotta handle something too as well. If I'm by myself in that situation, like we were hog hunting, I'm gonna be a little bit scared.
Yeah.
Or even if I'm with somebody else.
Right.
But for some reason, when it's not for some reason, because of all the things that he's done, and when I've grown up with him, he's always had my back. And,
right.
I mean, he's a big, strong dude too. So if it ever come down to it,
I
got no problem.
He's gonna wrestle them hogs.
Yeah. But
you played baseball, right?
Yeah.
What, Kennesaw State?
Kennesaw State, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, man. I was there for 5 years.
Your scholarship or do you walk?
Yeah, I was scholarship. They honored my fifth year too.
Heck yeah.
And then COVID gave me eligibility.
Situation.
Oh, okay.
So I transferred out and went D2 to Lee University. So shout out Lee University, Mark Brew over there. A great school too.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little Christian school in Cleveland, Tennessee. And,
okay.
I don't know if it was COVID that year, but for some D2, they had some ballers there, man.
Yeah.
We had a kid that got drafted throwing like 95, 97, Logan Workman.
Hey, you know what? Major League Baseball, I'll tell you what, they find people.
They do, man.
They find you at the ends of the earth. You throwing 90 plus, yeah, they're going to find you. Like, hey, come check out this kid who can throw 90 miles an hour.
100%.
Yeah, they're going to come find you.
Well,
You were what, a pitcher?
Yeah, I was a pitcher. We played SEC, ACC teams and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we played against Manoa. He plays for the Blue Jays now. And that's the guy that stands out the most. Him and Logan Gilbert. Logan Gilbert went to Stetson. He was in our conference.
Okay.
And those dudes...
I've heard of Stetson.
Stetson's they're kind of a powerhouse. Yeah. They have really good pitching staff. Chipper Jones's kid went there or something. I forget.
All you gotta say is Chipper Jones. So.
But right. But those are like the two most standout kids, and like they were throwing 97, big boys too, like 6'8", and I saw the difference right there of like where I should have been and where I needed to be. When those kids are pumping 97 with all three pitches on each side of the plate in control. And they're still losing, but staying that poise and that calm. And that's why I just struggle with that mainly. Right. I struggle with staying calm and staying poised.
It's funny because like in the Marine Corps, it's like I said, like I've played sports my whole life. So like I do feel that like pressure, but at the same time, it's like in the Marine Corps too, like I can relate to that because it's like, like last year when I was out at AT, it's like I got 2 weeks out of the year where I put in work, but it's like that work can either be top notch or trash, and it's like how do I focus on trying to keep that top notch And, you know, it's like every day is a mental, like, process for you. And it's like, as an athlete, too, it's like, you know, I haven't gotten to play D1 sports or anything yet, but, like, you still have to go through a process. You still have to go through a mental process where you're like, all right, I know my stuff is good. Like, I know I'm dealing today. But what can I do when I get to the 5th, 6th inning and I'm 2 batters away from getting out of this inning, but I got 2 guys on? Like, I just gave up a double, and just, you know, it's like, how do I get through this?
How do
you still focus?
Yeah. My biggest thing is not like the stamina or being tired in those situations and losing. It's not even losing focus because your ability just takes over.
Yeah.
It's you can't make excuses.
Right.
I complained a lot. I made a lot of excuses in my first 2 years, and I had a really high area, really tough years, and I ended up turning it back around my junior year because you just can't make excuses. Right. And it's not verbally making excuses, it's making excuses in your head.
You beat yourself up.
You can't just say like, oh, I could have made a better pitch right there, or he just hit that because the umpire was squeezing me or something like that. You have to take the challenge at hand, and you have to positive thinking. It's like it's not a goofy thing to do. Mm-hmm. Sitting there in your head saying like, no, I'm gonna make this next pitch. That's no problem. This is the next challenge. That 3-2 count that he just made me get there. Mm-hmm. The window got tighter, but it's no problem for me. I got this. I can handle it. That's a difference in thinking that I was like, I got to a point where I was about to lift my leg and I'm saying, oh shit, instead of saying, oh yeah.
Yeah. Self-affirmation is huge. Because like, you know, like it isn't, I mean, it's rec league type stuff, but like I played on two championship football teams. Like we won championships, so it's like I got a t-shirt and everything, so it's like, hey, we won championships. But during those games it was like sometimes I was like, I'm trying to beat this guy, and it's like, what, you know, it's like actually the last championship I played for, the team that we beat the hell out of us the week prior, and it was like, I know I'm not this bad. Like I was getting beat the whole game, and I'm like, I know I'm not this bad. Like, I know I'm better than this. So it burned a fire inside me that burned so hard that the next week we rolled around, I was beating the hell out of my dude. My dude, I heard him say, oh shit, probably 20 sometimes.
Right.
Like, just hitting him with a move. I spun off of him. Oh shit. Fucking swimmed him. Oh shit. I was doing whatever in my arsenal that I could just deal it to him. And I'm hearing, oh shit, on their quarterback the whole game, and he is losing it, and they didn't know what to do. We shut them out, and we won our championship. And like now that's why I was like, all right, I did that. Let me try a harder sport. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I played hockey in high school, and it was like, let me try to play hockey again. And you know, it's like getting back out there after so long. It's like it takes a minute to get, because it's like, you know, this whole abdominal surgery sucks because now I'm set back so many, but it's like trying to
it was just a minor setback.
Yeah, and like
time, you know.
But like that's the thing is like I can't go. I have a goal. I got sticks and pucks in my barn and everything. And it's like I can't go shoot. I can't go work on stick handles. I can't go really skate or anything.
Abdominal, can't. Yeah, everything involves the core,
and that's what's so tough. It's because it's like, and it's like. Now I'm thankful that I'm mentally strong enough to handle it, because it's like before I'd be all depressed and upset about it, and like now, but it's like I told myself, it's like, hey, look, just chill, calm down, fight it, heal up, because you don't want to get a hernia and have to get more surgery, and then you'll be even more behind.
Right. Which is awesome, because you actually understand when to take a step back. You know, that's an important thing too. Is understanding.
Because I didn't want to hear those words from my doctor. My doctor was like, he even said, you probably want to hear about the lifting thing, huh? And I was like, yeah. What's up, doc? What's you got? And he's like, about a month. And I was like, come on, dude. So I listened. I was like, all right, I get it. I understand. I get it. I understand.
That was a hard point coming back from my chest surgery too.
Yeah.
You know, I just recently had chest surgery.
That's what I mean.
Little over 6 months.
We all have those little,
you know,
bouts where every day it's like something happens and you're like, great. Now what do I do? Yep.
Got Tommy John
surgery.
The inevitable.
We've all.
That's what I mean.
Like, so many surgeries, man.
Oh, you're a lefty?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's lefty. Well, you know what's really cool, and I think is unique about him, and coming over a mental aspect behind it, is he's a lefty pitcher.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I know you're going with this. I was born without a left chest muscle.
He doesn't have a chest muscle.
Yeah, missing pec major
Dude,
and minor.
Wow.
But
he doesn't right there.
He doesn't have.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing there, and he's still able.
Everything's overcompensated back here, and
still overcame it.
Strongest shoulders in West Virginia.
Yeah.
That's why I went to the elbow and stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's how you got your Tommy John.
Yeah, that's how I can relate to that. That shit sucked, man. I did it when I was 18, going into college.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
So like Kennesaw even
hit it early,
which was
still
great.
Good. That's still good though, cause like, and that's the struggle too for me. It's like, like I was like all ready for the doctor to be like, yeah, you're good. Go ahead. Start slow and then you can work out. And so I was like excited. I'm writing down workouts and. Like I have a whole workout journal that I started writing. I wrote like my own little self-declaration, like you're about to work your ass off. And then he's like a month, and I'm like, dude, come on.
That's annoying.
So he told me like 4 to 6 months before I can even think about it.
So I'm like, I got all this knowledge in my head, and I'm like ready to execute, but I gotta wait. So I was like, all right, we're gonna relax. We're gonna just chill, dude. And that's where that's why I go walk. Like I'm walking around here mile and some change, and I'm like, I got to do something because I'm gonna lose my mind. I'm getting too antsy, and that's why I was like, all right, just take a deep breath, just go walk, just go walk, listen to some podcasts or something. Exactly, you gotta walk before you run. And that's why I've been walking and trying to like. Just get ready, because then eventually I'm gonna start running.
Yeah. And
then from running, I'm gonna be training, and I'm gonna get back out on the ice, and I'm gonna get back to it and get ready to roll. So
you got to.
Yeah, and that's what I look forward to. That's the thing. Is like I'm getting excited for that rather than just like beating myself up. Like, man, what?
Right.
Like, and that's the thing. Like with mental health, like you were saying, like you've got this depression that comes on sometimes, and it's like you can't. Like, it's easy to say you can't do this or that, but at the same time, it's like, yes, I get it, but you also have now said, I need help, but at the same time, it's like, you also need to realize, like, I still have things I gotta work on mentally, and, and it's like, okay, what can I do mentally that's gonna help better myself today, or tomorrow, a month from now, a year from now, and, your therapist might say, hey, try doing this exercise or doing that exercise. Write your thoughts down. Like, do something where your thoughts aren't just beating you up. Because that's one of my things that I've done, too. It's like I've started reading more. I've started writing. I started meditating. I'm doing things where my thoughts don't become my enemy. They become my friend.
Right on.
And then they become my ally.
See, awesome. I had a problem with that. I thought I just felt goofy doing that, man.
Right. And
I felt weird doing that.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
You might.
But that's. You gotta get over it.
That's where it all goes with the masculinity thing.
Yeah, you gotta get over yourself.
But it
works.
Because the thing is,
it really does.
You go back into the past. Before we started getting into the technology, and then the whole masculinity thing started happening. I mean, martial arts, you practice meditation. You did stuff like this. You took care of the brain.
Look at all of our.
Your brain is a muscle that needs to be trained just like
you have to work your brain, and look at go back to the 1700s, to the leaders that we've had of our country, just throughout history. That's the thing. The beauty of history is like you can learn from it, And when you look at history in the past, what did they do back then? They used to write. Why is it that we have so many things we can go read from famous people from the past? Because they wrote their information too. Yes, they wrote their thoughts down, and they got it out rather than let it attack them. It's like they wrote so much down.
Well, that's what I'm worried about now, moving forward from like our generation. We don't really do that. So
they're stopping teaching cursive, and our English language is turning into text form.
I know, you're right.
Why do you have to change with the times when that's the thing is that like everybody
Be different.
Everybody looks at like, oh well, the times are changing. Yeah, they might be changing, but they're still making pen and paper. So why do you have to abandon that?
Yeah, right.
Write something down. Like you could write 500 words, 20 words a day, and say, I am worth it. I'm good. I'm doing this or that and that, this, that, and the other. That's 5 minutes.
From the beginning.
20 words is not even 5
No.
minutes. 500 words is not even 10 minutes. I could write for a whole hour just because now it's like I'm like go into my mind. I go into my mind.
I gotta try something
What's
like that. I don't really do anything.
What do you like to
anything
read?
like that.
So really anything.
Fiction, biography.
It's funny because him and I were talking about it, and I read World War Z by Max Brooks.
Yeah.
And I wrote Devolution. I bought all 3 of his books. The Complete Zombie Guide. I'm a zombie fan, zombie horror fan, and stuff like that. So like I read all 3 of his books. Like I play a lot of video games too, but when I play video games that are historical or based on historical figures and facts, I like to go learn more about that. So like I played Uncharted 4. Uncharted 4 is about you're hunting for pirate treasure, which is like Thomas 2, Henry Avery, and Henry Avery, who is he was actually one of the first.
It's actually a really cool concept to try.
He was one of the world's first man. He became the first man in history to be the world's first manhunt.
Yeah.
So like, he robbed the Gunsway it's like pronounced the Gunsway. It's Indian, so it's pronounced differently. But throughout time, English rolled around and it became the Gunsway. So the Gunsway ship was a Mughal ship. The Mughal Empire in India was like one of the like biggest empires throughout history. Like they ruled India like millions of dollars worth. And this man robbed this ship. It was he attacked the Gunsway with different pirate ships, and they attacked the ship, and then he bolted, and they never caught him. And he was the first person in history to have a worldwide manhunt on him.
That's so wild.
And that's what I like learning
That's such
about
like a cool concept
stuff
that you
like
try
that.
and do, because I would have never even guessed to do something like that.
I played Assassin's Creed growing up.
Yeah.
And Assassin's Creed does a really good job of giving information. Current events
Assassin's
happen.
Creed 3, the Revolutionary War.
Yeah.
One of my favorite war, because it created the greatest country known to man. And I look back on some of the things in there, and I was like, who's this guy?
They're really accurate. Too.
I Google stuff all the I play. People are like Some people look down on video games, and I'm like, why? Like my mind is literally getting a workout right now by playing this game. I'm not only that, but I'm now learning something because I just said, what's this? And I Google it, and I go, oh, there's a book. Amazon order. I'm reading the book 2 days later.
100%.
So it's like.
A good example of that is a Guitar Hero. Growing up, I never played guitar, but it got me into that that kind of industry.
And then now you play music, and it's awesome.
Yeah, no,
and
it's like I listen to a bunch of their songs now too.
Yep.
All the music is completely different.
Nowadays too, like I'll hear a song and I go, oh, that was on that Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
the first Guitar Hero, or it's like I love music too, so it's like I listen to all kinds of music, and like I can go from gangster rap to country to like Phantom of the Opera to musicals. Like I love music. If it's a good song and I'm enjoying it, I'm gonna listen to it. And like I pull music from wherever. Movie, and I hear a song. What song is that? And I'll look up the credits and what song is that? Oh, okay, that's a good song. And like I try to gain knowledge from everything I do, because you can't ever have enough knowledge. I mean, you got a phone. You literally have knowledge at your fingertips. And so many people don't take advantage of that.
Well, half the time now it's filtering out the right knowledge too from that.
Yeah,
but you gotta be good at that now. So
you gotta know what knowledge you want to see.
Yeah.
But Nick, as we're wrapping up on time, we're actually way over. But it's been a blast talking to you.
Yeah, for sure. I had a great time.
If you got anything to say to anybody, that might be struggling with something mentally, and give us your little.
So. Yeah, I guess in closing, if you're struggling, please do not, you're not alone. There are millions of people who are struggling just like you. if you're struggling with anything, don't be afraid to reach out. Like I said, I do not care what time of day it is. Even if I'm not awake, when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to call you right back and get a hold of you. And that's the thing, is that, like, there's somebody there for you. There is. Like, regardless of what your mind is telling you, even if your mind is being a traitor to you, I promise you, you're worth it. You're a great human being, and you're needed. There are people that love you. There are people that care about you. We definitely need to address this 22 a day, especially with veterans, and we need to get it to 0 a day.
We got to knock that down majorly.
That is a number that is too high, and at the end of the day, you can reach out to whoever, and I don't even care if I don't know you. You can reach out to me. Like, I don't care. Like, who are you? Okay, I can make friends with anybody because I love and I hate other people sometimes, but at the same time, I also have just such a big heart that, like, I can't ever just see somebody struggling and let them go. And that's why I reached out to my one buddy, because I know he's struggling, and I still reach out to him. And that's my thing, is that, like, you need to reach out to whoever you need to deal with what you're dealing with.
Right on, brother.
Because you're loved, and at the end of the day, I don't care what it is that you're dealing with, I'm always ready to go to battle for you.
Perfect. Wow. Thanks, Nick. Nick Parker, everybody. And just going back, this is our first podcast. If you guys enjoyed it, leave a comment. Let us know what you guys thought. What can we improve on? What was bad for you? And anytime, ask questions. We love it. So if you guys like what you saw today, we have the GoFundMe account. It's on the link right there. And that gives us the ability to bring more people like Nick onto our show and be able to talk about them and their life experience. And that's just only there to help out everyone else. Thank you guys very much for watching. And
so if you want to find me on Instagram or Snapchat, Backer3106 on Snapchat, Backer2806 on Instagram, or Nick Parker on Facebook.
And we'll put
feel free to hit me up. Yeah, feel free to hit me up anytime. Any questions or anything, I'll be glad. I don't care what time of day it is, I'll answer your questions.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Within Uniform. I'm Dillon Dupree.
I'm Nathan Dupree.
And this is Nick Parker. Thank you very much.
Good one, guys.